Hey everybody, G4 Video 5 here, and welcome back to some more Grand Theft Auto 3, the Definitive Edition. In this part, we will be completing the mission Grand Theft Auto for Kenji Kasen.
It is impossible to overestimate the importance of etiquette in this line of work. To my eternal shame, a man once did me a favor, and I have never had the opportunity to repay his kindness. The man's weakness is motor cars, and he has requested that we acquire him certain models for his collection. Needless to say, we must give him the cars as a gift to repay the debt that I owe him. You must obtain the cars on this list and deliver them to a garage behind the car park in Newport. My honor demands it.
So the title of this mission is a reference to the game series itself, but also to the criminal act of stealing another vehicle. And that's the primary focus of this mission, because what we have to do is steal 3 different vehicles at 3 different parked locations across Staunton Island in 6 minutes. So there's a couple layers of difficulty here. First off is the randomness of what I'm experiencing, in that it is currently raining, so I have to deal with the sky's urine splishing and splashing all over the place there. And it'll make traversing in some spots a bit difficult, but thankfully Staunton has some pretty wide roads in a lot of different areas, so it shouldn't be too bad and detrimental to my progress there. But on top of that though, if you're playing in the original version of this game, there is no in-game map. So it makes it difficult if you're not that familiar with Staunton Island in finding these vehicles, because sure, they are marked on the mini-map and you can drive in the general direction of some of these markings, but you might overshoot your target or go along the wrong roads that'll take you somewhere else than where you were actually aiming. So it can be a bit annoying and difficult there, in which you make unnecessary detours to eventually get to where you need to get to. But that can really take a lot of time off the clock there. So that's the other aspect, you know, we have a timer that we're running up against. And these days I thoroughly enjoy beating the clock, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I mean, I just find it to be very enjoyable because it adds this time trial element to what we have going on here. But if you're dealing with being unfamiliar with the map, then I could see why the timer would end up being annoying for you. But for me though, I just like seeing what my fastest time can possibly be and all that type of jazz there. But anyway, something I really enjoy about this mission is that the vehicles that we're stealing are all sports cars. So it gives you a bit of a test run of all these different sports cars that are now available to us that you can find on the streets of Staunton Island. As up to this point, really, we've only used the Banshee in terms of a really high-end vehicle, and look at that sliding there from the Blista. So you can see the rain physics on full effect there, where even though it's not currently raining, you still have the residue there just kind of dripping and dropping there on the streets. So you got to watch yourself a little bit in terms of going high speed around corners, because you can very easily just swerve off the road and crash, which can be a bit of a problem. Because if you crash and damage the vehicle, and more specifically these vehicles that we are stealing, then you have to get them repaired. But I suppose it's not that big of a deal, because it's an odd design choice here for the mission, because the garage that we deliver these vehicles to is directly next to the pan spray. So it's really actually not that big of a deal if you damage the vehicle and have to get it repaired, because that's probably a 5-second time loss max there. So yeah, not too bad actually now that I think about it. And speaking of things that are not too bad that I've just thought of, these sports cars that we are stealing have a unique cherry red color. So if you're into that type of stuff, you might want to stash these vehicles in your own personal garage, and you'll fail the mission by keeping the vehicles for yourself, but you will get these snazzy looking colors here. Now, going back to the topic of these being sports cars that we are stealing, I love that this mission is almost like a pseudo test run given to us to kind of play around with these vehicles for a little bit. And, you know, it's pretty nice because we've had limited exposure to sports cars up to this point, so being here in Staunton Island really unlocks the floodgates to vehicles and also more powerful weaponry, as we've already experienced with things like the M16. But, I mean, take a look at this Cheetah, for example. Look at the ass on this thing. It's fantastic stuff. This vehicle looks amazing. And there's just a certain power behind this cheetah, and you can feel that power compared to the Banshee, which I feel like has a bit more finesse and acceleration going on there. Now, something more important that I should be pointing out is that there's Colombian cartel gang members around this area of Staunton Island, and they're going to try shooting at us if they see us. So oftentimes their bullets will hit random pedestrian vehicles, so then those pedestrians will start freaking out and drive all erratically, or maybe erotically to some folks, but you gotta watch yourself because they can crash into you and obviously cause you to have to repair the vehicle. But thankfully none of that happened for us, and we've completed the mission safe and sound. So that completes this part. In the next part we will be doing the next Kenji mission, which is called Deal Steal. So until then, I will see you next time.